can't come up with and articulate a better set of goals to improve the business than that, then they're the problem. So that's just the way I feel about it.
Yeah, that's incorporating the culture of fear. It's
Not good.
yeah, people are going to, the problem, there's going to be no failure there. We're all successful at that point, right?
But doesn't that tie into the idea of processing our water with zero defects? So how do you take those extremes and put it on which was on in order to keep up with the morale and in order to keep up a positive environment and a positive response to those requests?
Right. So that is focusing on the person, and what you're talking about is focusing on the process, the method, the system, right? And we're a team, and we're all trying to get better. We're trying to get to zero defects. We may never get there, and it's understood you're not going to get there. This is a continuous improvement goal. As long as we're pushing that ball up the hill, as long as you're getting better than you were before.
I'd like to have a follow-up question to the panel then. So if we consider, say, saving money on metric, how do the metrics affect, that are in place or need to be in place, how do they affect sustainability?
You absolutely want to have the right metrics. As manufacturers, you want to, sometimes we'll focus on, hey, how fast is this machine running? The faster the better, the lower our costs, right? And lean, that's not what we're trying to do. You want to put in the correct metrics. What's our changeover time? What's our inventory times? What's our lead time? What's our OEE? Those types of metrics you want to put in place, and you want to make those visible. Those you have to, as Sheena was talking about this morning, visual management. It has to, when you walk into a plant, it has to talk to you. It has to tell you, we're on schedule, we're off schedule. Instead of, say, at the end of the month, we figured out we're behind schedule, so everybody get in panic. When I walk into the plant, I want that plant talking to me, saying, hey, we're right where we need to be. We're right on schedule, or we're off schedule, or this is what's happening with quality. These problems, they need to pop up immediately so we can go and fix them. We can't hide them. So, yeah, but metrics. It's important to sustain. You have to have those metrics. You have to measure where you were at and measure where you are now and see the improvements.
Any comments on metrics you guys are using successfully out there?
Good morning, I'm Sharon Hussey from Medtronic. At Medtronic, our Medtronic operating system is modeled after the Shingo model for operational excellence. And when we look at metrics, outcomes from when we look at the Shingo metrics categories like leading with quality, delivery cost, people development, competitive impact, and we are relentless on tracking improvements in all of those dimensions. I would say that the mindset is that the manufacturing site leadership team is accountable to the year-over-year improvement in those numbers. Our electronic operating system, our lean, is viewed as a big enabler of those results. But ultimately, it's the leaders responsible for the year-over-year cost improvements, quality improvements, delivery improvements. I have seen, because of the discipline of tracking those improvements, that manufacturing site leadership team will reinvest in their continuous improvement group because they're getting the results for year-over-year quality improvements, cost improvements, delivery improvements. So it still comes back to the numbers. The cost numbers are an important piece of that, but we're definitely cognizant that that's not the only thing that we're focused on. And being medical device, of course, we're particularly sensitive to the quality metrics and delivery metrics, so making sure that we're supporting our customers and
One of the metrics this morning that Sheena hit on was ability. He had the pie chart, and he went from knowledge all the way to ability. if you're an employee and you see that your company's investing in you and wanting you to get better, that's going to make you more productive. You're going to be more productive. The company's going to be more productive.
Okay, just smile more. Smile more.
Oh, yes. Smile more.
We're getting close to the end of our time here, but we started a conversation about sustaining lean or sustaining advances in lean, and the question came up about the tools are not sufficient without the cement. I guess that's what we're saying. So my final question for everybody here and for the panel is, okay, well, where's the cement coming from? How do you develop cement? Or do you have to wait for the cement to arrive? How do organizations, the ones you're in, achieve what they need to do? If you don't have enough cement or don't have any, if I may put it in those terms, or how do you get the cement? What is it that gets it there? We're saying culture, we've heard people, all this. We've talked about leadership involvement, but how do you get the cement? What is it? Is it just there?
I have a quick response. This goes back to the gentleman who talked about values. I think the underlying values, ethics, and behavior patterns of an organization are where the cement begins. From that, you develop a set of guiding principles, if you will, both on how we treat people, how we respect and trust people, and what we expect from people, as well as operating principles. And I think that's the seed of you can draw from that to be able to deploy, I think, the cement, if you will. You draw from your basic foundation of who you are as an entity. And I've worked with a lot of companies, and a lot of companies don't know who they are. Very, very don't. And that allows you, the better companies who do know who they are, allows you to weather the storm. But that's my opinion. It's value system and stuff that's in place.
It has to be part of your goals. That's where it's got to be. We're building this house. Where we're going, you have to know where you're going.
We work with a lot of companies, and I'm going to address this maybe more from the standpoint of that versus being in a company. And the first thing we try to do when we sit down with a company, because I think every situation is a little bit unique, and what the needs are different. We've talked about a lot of different things here. We've talked about managing change. We've talked about fear in the organization. We've talked about management, commitment, buy-in, and involvement. And I think the important thing, if you're wanting to move your company towards operational excellence, there's a few things that we think are key. We have a very simple transformational process we try to take companies through. We first do discovery, try to understand what their issues are. If there are some of those soft and cultural skill issues, we'll try, as we build a customized plan to work with them, build that into the process. But when it comes down to the point of instilling operational excellence, what we try to do with every one of our clients is we first do Toyota Kata, because that builds a process. It helps create the champions and the coaches. It helps identify from the vision of the company down to everyday goals and objectives and targets for people to go after. And it really sets a process and a series of habits around the process side and the improvement side. Obviously, lean tools are the wrenches that figure out what the issues are and how to improve things and are vital in the process, because without the tools, you got nothing to work with. And then we try to do TWI because we feel that standard work is important, not that standard work should be standard for forever, but the scientific method needs to apply here. PDCA, you're always continuously improving, but as you make those steps, you know, you set a standard and everybody works at that level. If you're not doing that, then you've got chaos in the organization. And then ultimately, you know, the other things are more around the metrics, tracking progress, celebrating things. The long-term sustainability comes from a real culture change. And for each company, the needs are different, and you need to address those. And so what we try to do is through discovery, identify the important things that have to be done to make the Toyota Kata, the lean and TWI really become a culture change and continuous improvement process. That's what we do. So.
Okay, thank you. Any last questions? We're a little past time, but anything you'd like to ask or discuss at this point? Anybody got a comment? Well, I want to thank Dan and Michael and Ty. Thank you very much for your time. And